Picture this. You're 55 years old. You've worked your entire adult life, saved what you could. You check your retirement account one morning and see a number, maybe around $200,000. You feel pretty good about it. Then you run the actual numbers on how much you need to retire at 65, and your stomach drops. For the average middle-class American, the gap between what you've saved and what you actually need is so massive that when I show you the real math, you're going to understand why I call this number brutal. Here's what nobody is telling you. The median household income for Americans aged 55 to 64 is about $90,000 a year. Upper middle-class households earn around $180,000, so you'd think the person earning twice as much would retire first, comfortably. But when you calculate how much each needs to maintain their lifestyle in retirement, the answer will shock you. Neither of them is anywhere close. Hi, I'm Matt. On this channel, I break down real financial math for real people. No fluff, no get-rich-quick schemes. I help you understand exactly where you stand and what you need to do about it. If that sounds valuable, hit that subscribe button right now, because we're about to go deep into retirement numbers that most financial advisors don't want you to see. So let's talk about middle-class retirement in early 2026. The Pew Research Center defines middle class as earning between 2/3 and double the median income. For ages 55 to 64, that ranges from about $60,000 to $180,000. First profile, median Mark earns around $90,000 per year. He's 55, wants to retire at 65. Married, spouse stayed home. Mark saves when he can, but life happens. Kids, mortgage, medical bills. Second profile, upper middle Matt. Same age, same timeline, but earning around $180,000, double the income. Matt should be set, right? But here's what nobody tells you. Your retirement needs are tied to your current spending. When I show you what these two actually need saved by 65, and then what the median American has actually saved, you'll see why this is brutal. According to the Federal Reserve, median retirement savings for ages 55 to 64 is around $185,000. Half have less, and over half of all households report zero dedicated retirement savings. Zero. So let's start with the latest data, because things have changed significantly in the last few years, and you need to know where we actually stand right now. Last year, the median household income for the 55 to 64 age group dropped slightly, while inflation was still elevated. And if you were trying to save for retirement during the chaos of 2022 and 2023, when inflation was crushing household budgets, you know exactly how that impacted your ability to put money away. Here's another number that matters for retirement planning: Social Security benefits. The average monthly Social Security check is about $2,000. That's roughly $24,000 per year. Remember that number because it's going to be crucial when we calculate what median Mark and upper middle Matt actually need. Now let's get into the profiles, and I want you to think about which one you're closer to, because this isn't just about Mark and Matt, this is about you. Median Mark earns around $90,000 per year. He's been saving about 5% of his income into a retirement account and another 10% into savings. After we account for his savings and taxes, Mark's household is spending about $60,000 per year. That's his lifestyle. That's his current standard of living. Family vacations aren't extravagant, but they happen. They eat out once or twice a week. Nothing crazy, nothing lavish, just a solid middle-class lifestyle. Mark has been doing this for years, and right now he's got close to $200,000 saved up across all his retirement accounts. That's actually right at the median, which means he's doing better than half of Americans his age. But here's the question that should keep Mark up at night. Is that enough to retire on in 10 years while maintaining his lifestyle? Now let's look at upper middle Matt. He's earning around $180,000 per year, exactly double what Mark makes. Matt has also been saving, and he's been more aggressive about it because his income allows for it. After taxes and savings, Matt's household is spending about $110,000 per year. His lifestyle is noticeably more comfortable than Mark's. Nicer house, nicer cars, better vacations, eating out more frequently, higher quality of everything. He's worked hard to get to this income level, and his spending reflects it. Matt's got close to $400,000 saved for retirement right now. That's double Mark's savings, which makes sense given his higher income. The question for Matt is the same. Is that enough to maintain his lifestyle in retirement? Here's where things get interesting. Both Mark and Matt are going to qualify for Social Security benefits when they hit full retirement age at 65. The Social Security Administration has calculators online, and if you plug in their incomes, Mark is looking at roughly $2,500 per month in benefits, while Matt might get around $3,500 per month. Their spouses will get spousal benefits on top of that, which is typically 50% of the primary earner's benefit. But here's what nobody tells you until it's too late. Social Security was designed to replace about 40% of your pre-retirement income. That means even with those benefits, you're still going to need your retirement portfolio to cover the rest. And that's where the brutal math comes in. Pause. What's your household income? Keep that number in your head because the next few minutes will show you exactly how much you need saved, and most of you aren't even close. Let's start with median Mark. He's spending $60,000 yearly now at 55. He wants to retire at 65. That's 10 years. We need to account for inflation. By the time Mark hits 65, maintaining his current lifestyle will cost close to $80,000 per year. Inflation alone adds almost $20,000 to his annual expenses. Mark gets Social Security at 65. Between him and his spouse, that's about $45,000 yearly. Social Security benefits increase with cost of living adjustments, so they keep pace with inflation. Here's the math. Mark needs about $80,000 per year in retirement. Social Security provides $45,000. That leaves a shortfall of around $35,000 per year that his retirement portfolio needs to cover. Now we use the 4% rule, a widely accepted guideline in retirement planning. The rule says you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio yearly without running out of money. So if Mark needs around $35,000 per year from his portfolio, work backwards. That's over $800,000. Median Mark needs to have over $800,000 saved by age 65 to maintain his middle-class retirement. Right now, he has close to $200,000. That's a gap of over $600,000. If Mark's investments earn solid returns over 10 years, his current savings grow to maybe $400,000 by age 65 just from growth. But he still needs to reach that $800,000 mark. That means Mark needs to save an additional $3,000 per month every single month for the next 10 years. That's about $37,000 per year. Remember, Mark's take-home pay after taxes and his current savings is about $60,000. Saving an additional $37,000 would mean cutting his lifestyle by more than 60%. That's not realistic. Now, let's look at upper middle Matt, and this gets even more brutal despite his higher income. Matt spends about $110,000 yearly. With inflation over 10 years, that becomes close to $150,000 per year by age 65. Matt qualifies for better Social Security, about $60,000 yearly combined with his spouse. His shortfall is over $80,000 per year that his retirement portfolio needs to provide. Using the 4% rule again, Matt needs over $2 million saved by age 65 to maintain his current lifestyle in retirement. Over $2 million. Right now, he has about $400,000. His current savings will grow to maybe $750,000 in 10 years. He still needs to reach over $2 million. That means Matt needs to save an additional $9,000 per month for the next 10 years. That's over $110,000 per year. His take-home after taxes and current savings is around $130,000. Saving another $110,000 would mean cutting his lifestyle by 85%. Not happening. We're halfway through this video, and if you're still watching, there's a damn good chance you're realizing your retirement savings are nowhere near where they need to be. Here's the harsh reality that most financial advisors won't tell you this bluntly. The vast majority of middle-class Americans will not be able to retire at 65 while maintaining their current lifestyle. The math doesn't work. The gap is too large, and the closer you are to retirement age right now, the more brutal this reality becomes. But stay with me, because in the next section, I'm going to show you why everyone is so far behind, and then I'm going to give you a more realistic scenario that might actually be achievable. Mark needs over $800,000. Matt needs over $2 million, but median retirement savings is under $200,000. That's a massive shortfall. How did this happen? Over half of American households have no dedicated retirement savings, more than half. For those who do save, the median across all ages is under $90,000. The recent perfect storm. The stock market dropped significantly in 2022. If you had $200,000, you watched it shrink by tens of thousands when you're a decade from retirement. Then inflation spiked over 9% in mid-2022. Everything cost more. When expenses jump while income stays flat, what gets cut? Retirement savings. Federal Reserve data shows over half of Americans stopped or reduced retirement contributions in 2023 because of inflation. Wage stagnation matters too. That $90,000 median income sounds decent until you adjust for housing, healthcare, and education costs. Middle-class purchasing power has been flat for decades. In the 1970s, a middle-class salary bought a house, supported a family, and left money for savings. Today, that same relative income is stretched so thin that retirement becomes an afterthought. The pension shift changed everything. Your grandparents had guaranteed monthly payments. Companies took the investment risk. But since the 1980s, retirement accounts put all risk on you. Most people have no financial education, yet they're expected to become retirement experts. No wonder savings are so low. There's also human behavior. At 30, retirement is 35 years away. Your brain can't conceptualize that timeline. By 50, when retirement feels real, you've lost decades of compound growth. Starting to save in your 20s at just a few hundred monthly gives you hundreds of thousands by retirement. Starting the same amount in your 40s gives you barely a fraction of that. Starting late doesn't just cut savings, it decimates them. The wealth gap is widening. Research shows middle class shrunk from over 60% of households decades ago to just over 50% now. The top tier pulls further ahead while everyone else falls behind. Okay, so we've established the math is brutal and most people are nowhere close to their savings goals. But before you close this video and spiral into dread, let me give you something that might actually help: the 80% replacement rate retirement scenario. Here's the thing about retirement expenses that most basic retirement calculators don't account for. You probably won't spend as much in retirement as you do right now. There's strong evidence that the 80% rule is real. In retirement, you'll typically spend about 80% of what you spent in your working years. Why? Because certain expenses disappear or decrease significantly. Think about it. When you retire, you're no longer saving for retirement, which means that 15% of your income going into contributions is now freed up. You're not commuting to work 5 days a week, so gas, car maintenance, maybe even car payments decrease. You're not buying work clothes. You're not eating lunch out every day near your office. Your mortgage might be paid off by then, or close to it. If you have kids, they're hopefully financially independent adults by the time you hit 65. Multiple studies back this up. Government data shows households led by people 65 and older spend significantly less than households led by people in their 50s, even when controlling for income. The 80% rule isn't just theory, it's what actually happens for most people. So let's recalculate for median Mark using this more realistic scenario. Instead of needing to maintain his full $60,000 per year lifestyle, let's assume he can live comfortably on 80% of that, which is under $50,000. With inflation over 10 years, that becomes about $63,000 per year by age 65. Social Security provides $45,000. His shortfall is now only around $18,000 per year. Using the 4% rule, he needs about $430,000 saved. That's still a big number, but it's way more achievable than $800,000. Mark currently has close to $200,000, which will grow to maybe $360,000 in 10 years with solid returns. To reach about $430,000, he needs to save around $600 per month for the next 10 years. That's around $7,200 per year. Is that easy? No, but it's doable. It's not requiring him to cut his lifestyle by 60%. It's requiring discipline and some modest cuts. Maybe one less vacation per year, maybe eating out a little less, maybe driving his car an extra 2 years before replacing it. For upper middle Matt, the 80% scenario is tighter but still more realistic. If Matt can live on 80% of his current spending, that's around $90,000 per year. With inflation, that becomes about $120,000 by age 65. Social Security provides $60,000. His shortfall is about $60,000 per year, which means he needs around $1.4 million saved. Matt's current savings will grow to maybe $750,000 in 10 years. To reach about $1.4 million, he needs to save around $4,000 per month, or roughly $50,000 per year. That's still a huge amount, but it's not the impossible $110,000 we calculated earlier. Matt might need to make some real lifestyle changes now, downsize his house, trade in the luxury car for something more modest, cut back on expensive vacations, but the goal becomes achievable instead of fantasy. This is where retirement planning gets real and personal. If you're watching this and you're in your 50s, you need to make a choice right now. Option 1, keep spending at your current level, hope for the best, and accept that you'll probably have to work past 65 or significantly downgrade your lifestyle in retirement. Option 2, make some sacrifices now, cut your spending, increase your savings rate, and give yourself a realistic shot at retiring on time with a lifestyle you can actually enjoy. In 2 minutes, I'll reveal what you need to do, but first, let me show you what happens if you do nothing. If median Mark continues saving at his current rate and doesn't increase his monthly contributions, he'll hit age 65 with maybe $500,000 saved. Using the 4% rule, that gives him about $20,000 per year from his portfolio. Add in his $45,000 from Social Security, and he's living on around $65,000 per year. His expenses, adjusted for inflation, will be close to $80,000 if he maintains his current lifestyle, or around $63,000 if he cuts to 80%. He's short either way, which means he'll need to keep working or drastically cut his retirement lifestyle, or both. For upper middle Matt, if he continues his current saving rate, he'll have maybe $1 million by 65. That provides about $40,000 per year from his portfolio. Add Social Security of $60,000, and he's at around $100,000 per year. His full lifestyle needs close to $150,000, and even his 80% scenario needs around $120,000. He's short by a lot. The irony is brutal. Matt earned twice as much as Mark his entire life, but he's not in a significantly better position for retirement because his lifestyle scaled with his income. Alright, here's what you need to do right now, whether you're median Mark, upper middle Matt, or somewhere in between. First, run the actual numbers for your situation. Don't guess, don't assume, calculate. There are retirement savings calculator tools online where you can input your current age, current savings, current income, and expected retirement age, and it will tell you exactly how much you need to be saving every month to hit your goal. Get your real number. Second, if you're 50 or older, maximize your catch-up contributions. The IRS allows people over 50 to contribute extra thousands to their retirement accounts beyond the normal limit, and extra to an IRA. If you're behind on retirement savings, these catch-up contributions are specifically designed for you. Use them. Max them out if you possibly can. Third, look at your current spending and find places to cut without destroying your quality of life. This isn't about living like a monk, it's about being strategic. Maybe you trade in your car payment for something more modest. Maybe you cut your streaming services down. Maybe you meal prep more and eat out less. Small cuts compound over time, just like savings do. Fourth, if you're really behind and cutting spending isn't enough, consider working a few years longer. I know nobody wants to hear that, but the math is powerful. Every year you delay retirement does 3 things. It gives your portfolio another year to grow, it gives you another year to contribute, and it delays the point when you start withdrawing, which means your money lasts longer. Retiring a few years later instead of 65 can increase your retirement security by 20% or more. Fifth, talk to a financial advisor if you haven't already. Not someone trying to sell you products with massive fees, but a fiduciary advisor who is legally required to act in your best interest. A good advisor can help you optimize your asset allocation, minimize taxes, maximize Social Security benefits, and create a realistic withdrawal strategy. But there's a scenario where Mark actually retires before Matt, and it's the scenario nobody talks about. If Mark lives modestly, keeps his expenses low, and accepts that his retirement won't be lavish, he can hit his number earlier because his number is lower. Meanwhile, Matt is locked into a high-expense lifestyle that requires millions to sustain. Matt might earn twice as much, but he needs way more than twice as much saved. The person who masters lifestyle inflation is often better positioned than the high earner who lets their spending spiral out of control. Here's the brutal truth I need you to hear. For most middle-class Americans, the traditional retirement at 65 is going to require significant lifestyle sacrifices either now or later. You can sacrifice now by cutting spending and increasing savings, which means you get to retire on time with a decent lifestyle. Or you can keep your current lifestyle, not increase your savings, and sacrifice later by working longer or living on less in retirement. There is no magic solution that lets you spend freely now and retire comfortably at 65, unless you're already in that top tier of earners. So which one are you? Are you median Mark, earning around $90,000, trying to figure out how to get from $200,000 saved to the amount you need? Are you upper middle Matt, earning around $180,000, but realizing that even your higher income isn't enough to fund the retirement lifestyle you've been envisioning?